Welcome back to Linux Launch. This is a bonus section that I wanted to record in order to explain another fundamental concept before we completely leave Module 1. One of the tools that you'll use a lot in your Linux journey is APT, APT, which stands for Advanced Package Tool. You'll have to use sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade to keep your system up to date. You'll also use sudo apt install to install software, and you'll use sudo apt remove to remove software. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the apt command, what it is, and what it does. Advanced Package Tool, apt, is what Debian-based systems like Ubuntu use. Red Hat-based systems use yum or dnelf, and Arch-based systems use pacman, but some of the same principles apply regardless of the system. So let's talk more about apt. Here are some of the questions we'll be looking at. Where's the software coming from when you install software on your computer? How does your system know about this software and how to get to it? How do we see if a package is already installed on our system or not? And if not, how do we install it? That's just some of the questions we'll answer. Now first, before we go any further, let me talk about some core definitions that we need to know to fully grasp package management in Ubuntu. First of all is apt, a command line package manager for Debian-based systems like Ubuntu. We also need to know what the word package means. It's a bundle of files that make up a software application or tool. Repository is a remote server that stores those packages. Ubuntu is pre-configured with several repositories so that it knows about them and where to find them. Sources.list is a configuration file on your system listing which repositories your Ubuntu system knows about. They come pre-configured in Ubuntu, and we'll take a look at some of those in a minute. Update is a command that downloads the latest package index files from the repositories. So it reaches out to the repositories and says, send me your most recent inventory list so that my system will know what all you have to offer. Install is a command that installs a package and any needed dependencies. Dependencies are other software that the tool needs to be able to run effectively. Remove is a command that uninstalls a package but leaves the configuration files. Purge is a command, on the other hand, that removes a package along with its configuration files. And then finally, autoremove removes packages that were auto-installed as dependencies for other programs but are no longer required. So it's removing the dependencies that are no longer needed when the software that originally needed them has been removed. Now there's an analogy that I think will be helpful when looking at package management in Linux. Think of package management like checking out a book from a library. Repositories are the libraries where you would go and check out a book, or rather the sections or floors of the library. Your system knows about each one of these sections based on what's listed in sources.list. Packages are the books that are stored in the library. apt is your librarian, fetching the books that you requested and also getting you all the supplemental material that you need to use the book effectively and understand it. Sudo apt update is like refreshing the card catalog, making sure that your librarian knows what's currently available. So you're saying to the librarian, can you make sure you're using the most updated version of the library's card catalog? Sudo apt install is like checking out a book, saying that's the one I want, let me check that out. Sudo apt remove is like returning the book. You're finished with it, but you keep all the notes that you made, so you just return the book. Sudo apt purge is like not only returning the book, but also throwing away the plastic sack that they sent it home with you in, and additionally throwing away any notes that you took while reading the book. And then sudo apt autoremove is like returning the extra resources or dependencies that you were offered, the supplemental material. Now that the main book is gone, you don't really need these either. I hope that analogy helps you understand what's going on with apt. Now that we've seen these basic definitions and have an understanding of how this process is working, let's see this on a real Ubuntu machine. So now we're over here on our Ubuntu machine, and we want to demonstrate some of the things that we've talked about. So I want to open up the terminal, first of all, and I want to demonstrate how we view those repositories that we talked about, the libraries that our system knows about to go and retrieve packages. So to see that list of repositories, we can run the command cat etc apt sources.list. And cat is going to print something out to the screen, and we're telling it that we want to print out the sources.list file. And we press enter, and you can see these various URLs here. These are the repositories that our system knows about, and it goes out to those repositories to find the packages that we want to install. So let's go ahead and clear our screen. You can see there are many of those listed. We can also add to that list if we're wanting to install some software and we find out that we need to add a repository. We could do that by running sudo nano etc apt sources.list, and we're telling it we want to use super user permissions. We want to use the nano editor to edit this file sources.list. So we press enter, and it's going to ask for our password, as this is the first time we're using sudo in this session. And here we can see that we're now in this file, and you can see the various URLs that are listed as repositories. And if we wanted to add one, we would just go to the bottom of this file and add that. We're not going to add anything right now, and so we just want to exit, and you can see here that by Control X we can exit this editor. Now in some situations, if we've made a change, it would ask us to use yes or no to save or not save the changes, but since we've not made any changes, we just press Control X and we're out of the editor and back into our system. So I want to demonstrate installing a package called htop, which is an interactive task manager in Linux. So first, let's see if htop is installed, and we would run this command to see if our system knows about it. And the dpkg stands for Debian package, and so we're going to run that command. And this is a low-level package management tool that is actually being used by APT under the hood, and Ubuntu uses this tool, this utility, to keep track of packages that are installed. And so we can use it with the -L option, and we're telling it to simply list out the available packages. Now this symbol is a pipe, and you're going to learn a lot about pipes in Linux, and we use that to pipe the output of one command to another command. And the command grep stands for global regular expression print, and we're telling it we want to search for this htop in the output of dpkg. We want to search for htop and print that out. And the -I is telling it to ignore the case. So if I used uppercase or lowercase, it doesn't matter. It'll search for htop, and we press enter, and our system doesn't find it, so it is not installed. And now we want to install that, but before installing that, we want to run the command sudo apt update. And this is always something you want to do before you install something, and it's basically telling it that we want to update the list of available packages. So it will go out to those repositories and get the information and cache that in our system of what packages are available at those repositories. And so we're not updating our system. We're not downloading any software. We're simply telling it that we want to update the list of available packages, and we press enter, and that will take just a little while as it updates our information, and then we'll be ready to go and install the package that we want. In this case, it is htop. Remember, we're not installing any software at this point. We're just updating our catalog, so to speak. Okay, that has completed. Let's use the command clear to clear our screen, and now we're ready to install with sudo apt install htop. So we're using the APT, the Advanced Package Tool, and we're using the command install to install htop. And we press enter, and it will begin installing that software. And you can see here it says 434 KB of additional disk space will be used. That's okay. And it installs the package. Now we could let's go ahead and clear our screen with the command clear, and we can use our up arrow to go up to a command we ran previously, to that dpkg command, and now we press enter and it sees htop. Htop is now installed. II means that it's installed and it is configured. Now, if we want to uninstall this software, say we decide we don't want it and we want to uninstall it, we would use the command sudo apt remove htop, and it's going to remove that for us. So again, we're using the APT advanced package tool. We're using the command to remove, and we're removing the software htop, and we press enter, and it asks us if we want to continue. It tells us 434 KB of disk space will be freed. We say yes and press enter, and now it is uninstalling that software from our system. We're done with it at this point. So now we can use our up arrow and go back to our dpkg command, and we can run that command to search for htop, and it no longer sees it. It has been removed from our system. Now with some software, when you run the remove command, it's going to remove the software but leave the configuration files. Htop itself doesn't have any tracked configuration files, and so it doesn't see anything here. But with some software, if we removed it and then ran dpkg, we would see that it still sees the configuration files. And where earlier we saw II, meaning it's installed and configured, in that instance you would see RC, which means it's removed but configured. But again, with htop, there's not any configuration files left behind. But if there were, we would run the command sudo apt purge htop. And where remove tells it to remove the software but leave the configuration files, purge tells it remove the software and remove the configuration files. Now we could just skip the remove command and go straight to purge if we know we don't want the configuration. But the purge command comes in handy when we've removed some software, we kept the configuration files, but then we decide later we don't need them. We can use the purge command. But we run sudo apt purge htop, and you can see here at the top of the output it says package htop is not installed, so not removed. But then it says the following packages are automatically installed and are no longer required. This is talking about the dependencies that are installed with other software to make sure that software has what it needs to run. Now, all of these dependencies listed, all of these additional packages may not necessarily be related to htop, but they are related to some software that we've installed that our system no longer needs. And so sudo apt auto remove to remove them. And so with auto remove, you're saying that I want to get rid of these dependencies that are no longer needed. And so this is a way of cleaning up after ourselves. So we can run sudo apt auto remove. It does not need a package listed after it. It's just going to remove those packages. So we press enter, and it's going to tell us we're going to have 694 megabytes of space that will be freed. And we want to say yes and press enter. And now it is going to begin removing all of that software that is no longer needed. It's going to clean up our system, and it's a good practice, and you'll often find yourselves doing auto remove to clean up after yourself. And so this is getting rid of all the extra stuff that we don't need anymore. So what we've demonstrated here is a workflow that you're often going to do in your Linux journey. You're going to check if available. You may update the repository list. You may be checking to see if software is installed. And if it is not, you may be running the sudo apt install command with the package name. And then if you want to remove software, you'll use the commands remove and purge. And then you'll often want to clean up after yourself and run the command auto remove. So that's the workflow, and that's the APT advanced package tool in action. Well, that's a simple look at the advanced package tool and how it helps you manage software on your Linux system. You now understand what happens behind the scenes when you use apt, and you've seen how to install, remove, and clean up software efficiently. apt will be one of the most used tools in your Linux journey, and now you're ready to use it with confidence. Well, that's the end of this bonus section, and now you're ready for Module 2 of the C Model Framework, which is file management, using the acronym CREATION. I hope you'll join me there as we learn about working with files in Linux. Please like this video and subscribe, and I hope you'll join me in Module 2.